And on item 2, public comment, members of the public may raise issues or concerns, pardon me, not listed on the regular agenda during this time. To participate, please sign in before the meeting begins. Speakers will be called in the order they signed in. When speaking, citizens must address all comments to the beginning by stating their name, address, or single-member district number, and limit their remarks to 3 minutes or less.
We have no public comment.
We have no public comment?
No, sir.
Then moving forward, item 3, we'll consider approving the July 17th, 2025 Animal Shelter Advisory Committee regular meeting minutes, which I believe was our last meeting.
And the non-negative rabies specimens for 2025 to date. You have 2 consent agenda items to approve in a slate.
Oh,
if
okay.
It's
I
the
see
committee's
that.
desire.
So do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, or anybody want to talk about any part of it or pull it?
I move to approve.
Second.
I'll second
I'll
that.
second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The consent agenda is approved. And the non-negative rabies specimens for 2025.
The motion
Item-
was for the motion was for the slate of 3A and B, I believe.
Yes.
That was the intent, but, so we would be moving into,
Item 4,
Yeah.
regular agenda. Consider accepting monthly division performance for July 2025, presentation by Shelter Supervisor Hallie Gielan.
Good morning or afternoon. All right, I will be doing the last month's report, just all the numbers that we have had. In July, we had 400 new arrivals, 394 adopted transfers out, 46 redeemed by owner, 29 wildlife released, 57 deceased, 196 left in custody, and 89% live release rate, which is last month's was, would be June, was 57%. We had 57 deceased dogs, which is significantly lower. The prior month, we had 130. 32 dogs, 24 cats, and 1 other. Of the deceased, 14 were for aggression, 36 were sick or injured, and 7 were for capacity. We had 424 field services cases, which is almost 200 more than the prior month of June. 262 stray response, 48 enforcement and rechecks, 71 wildlife cases, 31 bite investigations, which is a bit higher than the month prior, 7 transports, and 5 owner release seized intake. Is it the next month following, or do we have to prove that?
if you'll pause in case there are any questions.
I have a question
Yes, sir.
about the bite investigations. Of those, were those animal-to-animal bites or animal-to-human?
We can get that. It's just the general
That
right
includes
now.
all bites, and it was up from last month of about 25 is what we've been averaging since March. But last year we were on average at 50 to 60 per month. So it's still down year over year, but we can get you the breakdown of how many of those were animal to animal and how many were animal to person. So that includes dog, cat, wildlife, to each other, to a person. That's just all bite cases that ASO's worked.
Okay.
I'd like to see it.
Sure, we'll send it out.
Any other questions?
And you have August?
Yeah, do I just follow it, or do we have to, does it
If
have
you're
to
ready,
be
you can go
approved?
ahead and read that agenda item into the meeting.
Consider accepting monthly shelter performance for August 2025. Go ahead.
In August, we had 322 arrivals. 86 were adopted and transferred out that month, 31 redeemed by owner, 26 wildlife released, 117 deceased, 289 left in custody, and 55 were released alive. This is lower than the month of July that we just saw. Of the deceased, there were 88 dogs, 26 cats, and 3 other, which can be raccoon, skunk, any other species. Just to break it down a little better, 33 of those were aggressive, 37 sick or injured, and 47 were for capacity, which is higher, again, than the prior month of July.
Was the, excuse me, was the capacity due to intake from the flood? Do we think?
Directly, we can get that like breakdown if you want to see how many people reference the floods in that versus just our normal intake.
We didn't see, just anecdotally, much intake in August from the flood. That was really localized to July. You saw that our July intake was much higher than prior months and even compared to the prior July. So in August, we really did see a great decrease in that. And I think you'll see that when we get to our animal services officer reports. There were people coming forward in July seeking help and assistance around their pets. But by August, those requests had largely dwindled. And even the calls for example, if someone simply released their dog or their dog was running loose because their home was no longer able to secure it, that pretty quickly resolved itself before August started.
I thought maybe that for capacity, there was holdover, from.
For the month of July, we moved out as many animals as came in. So we started
really?
August 1st very fresh and I wouldn't cite holdover as the reason. This was average intake, average capacity euthanasia, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. For field services, we had 334 field cases. 186 of those were stray response, 57 were enforcement and rechecks, 68 were wildlife cases, 13 bite investigations, which is down from the prior month, 7 transports, and 3 owner release seized intake.
So where did the transports go?
Most of the time when we have adopted or transferred, that's going to be to our rescue partner.
For August, yes.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So, I guess my question is, it looks like y'all have. Microphone, please. Oh, sorry. Somebody turned it off. It looks like that you had a really impressive turnaround in July with the 400 that came in and the 390 something that went back out again.
Yes.
For placement. So I guess my question is, in August, were there not any placements for the 47 dogs that you had to euthanize because you just didn't have capacity for them?
Correct.
Were there no
So-
other agencies, no other anything that could have,
For capacity, no. When we have like some things sort of like medical, we do reach out to our rescue partner for medical treatment. And we do also reach out when we are approaching capacity to our rescue partner, just so they have that information. And we do our best to, if we have a list of owner dogs that are owned, that we know the owner, we're working through that every day, just sending ASOs to the houses. We really do try to not have to get to the point of where we're euthanizing for capacity. But when we do, we've resorted all options to find other avenues for other dogs, even it may not have been just those 47.
So in short, yes, that was 47 animals that we had no other placement for but euthanasia to stay under capacity.
well, what is the goal for your department? Because
The goal is to serve the public safety and public health and impound any and all eligible animals.
I hadn't finished my question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What is the goal of your department for your percentage of released alive? Because in July, I think you were 80-something%, which is a pretty significant
Yes.
accomplishment. and down in August, it's down to 55%. So in your department, what is your projection, or what is your goal? What are you striving for? You're not always going to get it, but what are you striving for?
I mean, we want to strive for 100%. Obviously, that's not very obtainable right now,
Right.
but that is what we do strive for. And it just depends. After the floods, we had a lot of people come in and help and take dogs and cats, so that drove our numbers up. But the prior month, it was around this 60, 50%.
So as far as a percentage goal of animals live released, there is no goal. There is no department goal. The directive has been to serve the public safety and public health and not set a goal around life saving.
Well, I can see that if they're aggressive. I can see that if they're ill or dying. I'm talking about the capacity numbers. So just because y'all, and you don't want to hit capacity, because I believe you've been saying we keep under capacity, we keep under capacity. Is that correct? How much under capacity do you keep?
We get
We're
to
not
capacity.
under-
We
Yeah,
will.
we're not under capacity. This is simply to stay at capacity.
Okay. Is- Whoever wants to answer my question, is that normal for it to be 55%?
Unfortunately,
Is that something,
yes.
and it's abnormal?
Since the February 27th policy change, yes, this has been our average performance. And it's not anything any of us are happy about, and it's not what we would prefer, but it is the directive, and it's what we're carrying out.
Well, how do you see turning that around?
The number of resources and programs we've recommended for funding and implementation that have not yet been approved.
So it's funding,
It's policy, it's program, it's funding, it's a comprehensive approach.
I think one of the things that can be done maybe to help with that is to work with other rescue organizations in other states to see if they, it would take funding, I do understand that, but that might be a goal that can be worked at, is let's see if we can get these animals to places where they're wanted and needed.
well, I think we need to be the cheerleader for that, for the department. So if we don't know that that's what is needed, or that's what needs to be utilized, then we don't really have the knowledge to go back and try to get that for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have one. Do you have any, even if it's anecdotal, which is deadly in this environment, but do you have any anecdotal knowledge as to how the local rescue groups stepped up during the flood, which would have made July spike for live releases?
Well, the numbers of, can I go back to July?
I don't know. Can we, Kathleen?
Okay, let me see, because that was on, so the 394 would have been how many animals were transferred or
Adopted, yeah.
Correct.
So that sort of answers your question, Judge, is that we had a significant increase in activity from the rescue organizations, including the contractor.
Well, entirely, yeah.
Yeah, that caused that. And ideally, if we could get that kind of response monthly in some fashion, we could get to that 89 or 90% released alive again. That was more of a comment than a question. I apologize.
Did the flood have any damage or any effect on your facilities specifically? I know y'all were out in that area, your location is out in that area.
Like structurally? No, ma'am. We were luckily not to be affected by it.
Okay, thank you.
I don't believe we have nothing to vote on or a motion here.
Mr. Chairman, If I may, first, if we may clarify for the record that we did not have any public comment signed up throughout this whole meeting today, is that right? Okay, thank you. And so second, moving forward for the agenda item number 4, both A and B, that's where if there were any motions to accept either or both of subsection A and B under agenda item number 4. I don't know if your board wants to entertain any motions, but because it is written as consider accepting, then the board can consider motions to either accept A and or B. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm going to seek a motion to accept items A and B of the regular agenda.
I'll move to accept that.
A second? All in favor? Aye. Motion's carried. We've accepted the regular agenda items. Item 5, follow-up and administrative issues, and I have a little administrative issue to bring up. And we had a lapse in meetings over the summer due to the flood and other considerations that are not relevant now. But when we fall off of our predetermined schedule and we send out notifications, I would like to recommend that we send out an email either canceling a meeting or to change the time of it or reschedule one. And I think that we should expect a response from each one of our committee members, because after that email has sent out, and if we don't get that response, we should send another email or a text or something, because every one of us on this committee are very busy. We have a lot to do, and it's easy to walk past, miss an email or something. So what I would like to see is that when any of these notifications are sent out, that there's a response from the particular committee member that's acknowledged, and if that response isn't acknowledged, then a second email or a second form of notification or text or even a phone call to me or any other member to spur additional committee members.
I agree. And also, if we could have one text that includes all of us, that we're not going to discuss anything about the meeting except for whether you're going to be there or not, and one email with everybody on it. Because when you respond, you don't know who got it.
I think that's
We can't have everybody on an email and then start discussing business because of the meeting, the Open Meetings Act and stuff, but one email with everybody on it for the meeting times and responses with everybody.
I think that's a good idea.
I would defer to legal that does indeed create a walking quorum.
If we're not talking about anything other than when we're going to meet.
I think there is concern because sometimes people will hit reply all and further discussion, and so just to ensure that we are in compliance and not having a walking quorum, that it is probably best practice to continue the way that we have been doing.
So there was a couple of months this last summer where the meeting was canceled for one reason or another. I still showed up. I don't know if anybody else did, but it's hard for me. I could definitely use that time otherwise spent. Is there any way that we can notify all the rest of the members that a meeting has been canceled? That morning, that day before?
I think that staff has ways that they can communicate, and we can work on seeing how we can improve on that.
That would be very, very welcome. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Can I suggest? How do you turn We only meet every other month anyway, and when the meetings just get canceled with no reset or anything like that, that gives us a significant gap for this committee, which the whole reason we went to every other month is because we felt like we needed to meet more and understand what was going on. So when we just get an email saying, well, it's been canceled because of whatever reason, it should have been said, this meeting has been canceled, it's been reset to the next week or whatever, if that's, convenient for everybody or that works. But I don't agree with just getting an email saying, oh, well, the meeting's canceled, and that's it. So I really think it should have been reset instead of letting us go with this gap of not having any information provided. And what it did is it basically went, that meeting, we would have gotten information on, June and May, which we didn't get.
Well, if I could clarify, we are meeting monthly.
Yeah,
We
that's-
reset
thank you.
the June meeting only, and then we reset the June meeting, and then the August meeting, we had a staff shortage. And so that did preclude us from follow-up emails and texts, but we do have additional staff on board now, and so we don't predict that happening again, but it was a one-off for August. But we're not meeting every other month, and we aren't going that long without a meeting. There's been one meeting that's been completely canceled, and it was due to staff shortage.
And so the June meeting was reset?
A week later, and so
I wasn't
if you're,
even-
if you're not getting, so we're sending out an email that it's rescheduled or canceled. We're also sending out the email with the background, so if you haven't received the background, that's a bigger issue because you've got to have that statutorily so many days before the meeting. And so if you haven't received the packet and the background, then that's a good indication that we have a problem and we need to talk. But we've already made a note to text you in particular because we recognize your busy schedule and anyone else that wants to be added to that, but we don't predict any other failures, but there are things that we cannot plan for, like August.
And you're fine, you don't have to make an extra step. The email was fine, and since I've started, I was getting the agenda, an email right before the meeting. In June, I didn't get, it's been since June since I've received any emails, so I'm not sure.
I think it's because they're coming from Angelo perhaps, and they're not coming from me any
Okay.
longer. So I
Okay,
don't know if
maybe that
it's
was what
getting missed
happened.
for that.
Yes.
But we statutorily have to have the agenda and packet to y'all by Friday now,
Okay,
before the
yeah,
meeting on
yeah,
Thursday.
I'm not getting
So if
that.
you haven't received it by Friday, either we have an issue with, technology, or something's been reset with the meeting. But we certainly will strive to take all this into consideration moving forward.
Thank you.
We actually had two. June, I know it was rescheduled, but June was canceled. The original June was canceled, and the August for staffing shortages. Does that mean somebody here? Does that mean somebody here? Where is the shortage at?
Yes.
Does anybody know?
Yes, I'm still interim director, so I'm still serving as animal services and the director role. Angela's still interim assistant director, so she's still doing her old job and her new job. Other vacancies, so yes, it's us and our availability. But with new staff hired on, we don't predict this continuing, and it was my intent to speak to both June and August. A moment ago, I apologize if I didn't mention the June
no,
meeting. I meant to
was
include
wondering
that
what-
and clarify that we indeed recognize that as we value the committee members' time, and it's not our intent to have this kind of level of miscommunication.
Okay.
Amanda, would you be willing to introduce yourself to us?
So my name is Amanda Weddle. They have appointed me as the Animal Services Manager. I come from Frisco prior, even before that with Louisville as well as with College Station as Animal Services Officers, Senior Animal Services Officers, and lead trainer, lead techs at vet clinics. I have 25 years animal care experience. I have 16 of that in the Animal Services Department. Other is veterinary. I have national as well as state certification for animal control, as well as cruelty investigators through NACA and TACA. So just to give you a little bit about my background as far as what I have worked through. If y'all have any questions for me specifically, I'm more than happy to answer them. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
How's your fourth day?
Excuse me, if it's dry today. Does anyone else have any business they want to bring before the committee today?
Kinda. I was going to ask, for our attendance for these, what are the rules on our attendance for how many meetings missed?
I can send you the bylaws. It's set by council in the bylaws, so I don't have it in front of me, but I'll send it over to you again.
Is it specific for this committee, or is it like a citywide?
Every
committee?
city board and committee adopts its own bylaws and attendance standards, and recommends them to city council for ratification. And those were recently reviewed in early 2024. And it's in your onboarding packet if you want to look through your papers, but I can get it out to you again.
I think that with us meeting scheduled every month, the restrictions for the missing is, we might need to do, I think it's 2 for the whole 2-year term. Is that, and if so, maybe 2 a year, or I don't know, if we're going to meet every year, I think that would be, it would be easy to,
You'd like a future agenda item to discuss
yes,
bylaw edits to the attendance. All right, got it.
yes.
Is there anything else?
Clarification that Ms. Giese asked for. I'm Heather Stasny. I'm the city clerk for any of y'all who might be sitting up there wondering who I am. The bylaws adopted said any committee member who misses 3 duly called meetings in any 12-month period shall be deemed to have automatically resigned from office, subject to reappointment. So it's 3 meetings in a 12-month rolling calendar year.
Do you still want a future agenda item?
No, if it's 12 months, 12 for a rolling calendar, that's fine. I don't think that, unless somebody else thinks that that's, I think that's fine.
Well, with that said, looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move it.
A second? All in favor? Aye. Thank you, folks.